Ready? This is kind of like my creme de la creme gym. That'd be a sweet t-shirt or something. Not pretentious at all. One of the big questions was Black Friday. Rogue announced that they were going to... Hey guys, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews, and we are in the garage to answer some questions that you've given us on Instagram. So every once in a while we'll post a story asking for people to ask us questions, and they vary. Today we're gonna cover Black Friday. We're on the precipice of Black Friday being here, and it's like the biggest freaking sale of the year. And so I have some intel I can give you on what I'm expecting after talking to some companies. We're also gonna answer some random questions on like cheap products I use, what my training looks like, just things like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, most useful DIY equipment I've ever made. There's a lot of DIY stuff I've made. The very first few articles on Garage Gym Reviews was like DIY stuff. I made this medicine ball that was 100 pounds. I wanted a 100-pound sandbag, couldn't afford it. So I was like, I'm gonna DIY it. I found the largest 4-square ball I could, filled it with sand, got a tire patch kit, used that over the top of it. It was a 100-pound sandbag. Lasted me for like 2 years, and I beat the crap out of that thing. It was like 16 bucks. But a useful DIY that I think even more people could get use out of is a weight vest like implement to hold the weight plate in the weight vest. So it's very simple, super cheap. It's basically you take this cardboard piece, you cut it out, you then take a 10-pound plate and use like zip ties to tie it together. You then write the word Rogue on top of it because then it costs like $20 more, and you shove it into a weight vest. You then are able to have a 20-pound weight vest for way cheaper just using the plates you've already got. So either one of those would work really well. I gotta say though, I absolutely love the 100-pound slam ball one. There's just something about it. I'll go back to the article every once in a while and just read it and just think about myself as the younger Coop and just be really happy. So it's about to get cold, at least where I am in the Midwest. If you're northern, it's gonna get even colder, and it's going to absolutely suck to train in your garage gym. It's like the one thing that's like, I think prevents a lot of people from reaching their goals in a garage gym is like the temperature. So hot, not as much unless you're in like Florida, it's just crazy humidity. Number one, I first want to say maybe shifting the way you think about it from like, hey, I have to do this in the cold to, hey, I get to do this in the cold. My parents used to say that about going to church. But hey, I get to do this. And the thought is like, I am working out so I improve my body. Maybe working out in the cold is improving something beyond just your body, so improving your mind. So working out in the cold like is probably a good thing for a lot of us because it's just voluntary hardship. However, if you're like me and you don't always want to do voluntary hardship because you're not as tough as you'd like to portray, then I would suggest a mini split. Mini splits are a more expensive option, but they use heat pumps, and it's a super efficient way to heat a space, and it's not crazy pricey. So to buy one and have it installed, you're looking at maybe $2,500 to $3,000, which I know that's a bit, but it's gonna be able to condition the space, both cooled and heated. Beyond that, honestly, what I used for years, and I don't know why people don't use them more, is just a propane top heater. I went to Harbor Freight, got a Mr. Buddy propane top heater for 20 bucks. I think I got a light and a screwdriver in addition to that because I had a couple coupons and I'm super cheap. And I was able to put a propane heater on a propane tank, open my garage door a little bit so I'm not just breathing in the fumes all the time, just a little bit, and then get to work. I mean, they get hot, so hot in fact, you eventually have to take your hoodie off or your sweater or whatever you're training with. I train naked most of the time though, so it doesn't matter. Bumper plates or iron plates? We really should do a full video breakdown on this because there's a lot of nuances between them. For most people, because bumpers and rubber is cost prohibitive, and most people are not doing Olympic lifts, they're just like the most impactful lift they're doing on the ground is like a deadlift. I would probably say that most people should have iron. I lift with iron most of the time. I've got my deep dish plates over here, also a pair of USA Olympics just because we were reviewing them. And then over there, I've got some Eleiko rubber bumpers. I use both depending on what I'm doing, but if I was just gonna have one set and price was an issue, I'd go with iron. If price wasn't an issue, I'd do rubber bumpers. Now, I'm not lifting like the max I'm putting on the bar is gonna be 500 pounds, probably for the rest of my life. That will be like the max, which is kind of sad to think about. That's the max I'll ever lift. However, that's kind of the way it is. So for me, I can fit all that in bumper plates, not too hard. For other people that are like power lifters and lifting way heavier, I may suggest iron. So that's kind of my take on them too. So the new garage gym, I kind of just went all out. We're gonna have this garage gym, and there's a little bit of a secret for you guys. We're also building an 8,500 plus square foot facility where we're testing equipment. It's gonna have basically just house everything and have a lot different flooring than this. This, I wanted something that one was sound suppressive. So if my kids or my wife are inside, maybe they're sleeping or doing whatever, if I'm dropping weight, I'd love to like minimize the noise as much as possible. Number two is I really wanted tiles. I've always wanted tiles. I remember lifting on them at an old commercial gym, and it may be a nostalgia, but part of it was I just liked the feeling and look of them, and I really wanted tiles. So I'm using the Eleiko dampening tile. They're 30 mil tiles, which is like crazy thick. They've got these cups underneath that like compress and like suppress the sound. They also have these corner tiles that basically allow the tiles to connect. They call them quad tiles, I believe, which they sit underneath the tiles and they kind of like fit in there so they don't move around. Dude, they're just so nice. They are expensive, but they are so freaking good. So we're gonna do a full like video on what flooring I chose and options and things like that coming up. So if you like to see that, you can subscribe. But that's the one I went with. I mean, this is kind of like my creme de la creme gym. This is the one I use the most. So I'm putting in like the stuff I like the best, and this is what I chose. Creme de la gym, that sounds pretty good actually. That'd be a sweet t-shirt or something. Yeah, creme de la gym. That'd be not pretentious at all. All right, so upcoming Black Friday. As you guys know, every year, Black Friday for gym equipment owners, just Cyber 5 in general, is like the biggest time of the year to buy equipment. The reason is because most companies, at least previous to this year's been a little bit different because we've been pushing companies, but previous to this year, most companies do not do sales outside of Black Friday because a lot of them have been following the playbook of Rogue Fitness because Rogue Fitness has always done Matt Black Friday. Or they extend it to like Matt Black Friday for a week, and then they extend it to Matt Black November, where it was an entire month of November with sales. I mean, this stuff is in such high demand, there's really no reason for them to offer like 60% off really popular products like racks and bars. However, there is certainly discounts on bars, plates, that sort of thing. I think it's worth waiting for oftentimes. All right, so we did this entire Q&A sequence, answered all the questions. One of the big questions was, what do you do with all your gym equipment? Well, this is our new space. We'll tell you about this later. If you'd like to see it, subscribe. However, the other question we got was on Black Friday, and this is a big one. When we first did the question, I talked about basically problems in the supply chain and talking about, I don't know, last year was really small, this year may be really big, and then Rogue announced that Black Friday this year was probably going to be limited. In fact, Black Friday for Rogue Fitness, they're saying is gonna be as small as basically they've ever done. So the sales that are gonna happen for Black Friday for Rogue are gonna be mainly on products that aren't manufactured by Rogue. They're gonna have some additional sales like $1 dumbbells, $1 a pound dumbbells, which those can sell out of stock. The other thing they're also doing is they're offering some discounts on shipping, $75 max shipping, different pricing on shipping for racks and things like that. But for Rogue this year, unfortunately, Black Friday won't be that crazy. So obviously the biggest issue right now for Black Friday is the supply chain issues. We've obviously heard about the chip shortage and tech and things like that. But in addition to that, they're just like getting product to the companies. And so like that's hitting companies hard. I'm hoping that companies have been prepping for this for some time and plan to do something big. I do know there are some good sales that are coming, and we've got some unique sales. If you'd like to see all the Black Friday sales, you can hit the link below the like button or hit the card. It'll take you to our site where we list literally every Black Friday sale for fitness, and we've got some exclusive discounts with brands where you can use their codes, and you can find those at the site where it has everything. And we update it literally multiple times every day. So if you'd like to see that, go check that out. I'm hoping that other companies, and I'm thinking that other companies, instead of seeing like, hey, this is what Rogue's doing, we should just follow suit, they're gonna say, hey, this is what Rogue doing, we wanna compete, like we're geared up for this, let's blow it out of the freaking water. Okay, that's a Black Friday update. Okay, best equipment for core exercises. Number one is you don't need equipment for core exercises. I mean, you can just hang from a pull-up bar and do leg raises, stuff like that. I mean, if you think about like the purpose of your abs and your core. Oftentimes it's for like obviously stabilizing, but also lifting your legs. So like sprinting and running, things like that can improve it, but also just attaching things to your legs. One device though, if you're just looking to spend money on core devices that I think a lot of people don't know about that is different from something like a GHD is the Pure Torque. Bah! This is the Pure Torque. This thing is pretty sweet. It can be simulated using a exercise ball where you basically hold an exercise ball, you then wrap your hand around it, grab a cable, and you use that for rotation, trunk rotation. That's what this is simulating, but it's like a actual like product to use for it. So this attaches to a cable device. You then wrap your arm around right here, grab your hand here, and rotate. And it sounds like, oh, that can't be too hard. I'm telling you, like, this thing is so deceiving. This thing is very well made. If you're into rotation sports, like say, like when I played hockey, lacrosse, those sorts of things, I would have loved this. I mean, any athletics is using some sort of rotation, but I really think this could work well for those. It's just a nice commercial piece. It's expensive. It's not something I'd really recommend to a lot of people, but if you're looking for something that's off the beaten track and very good, this thing's awesome. We get a lot of questions about unlevel garage floor. The reason is that almost all garages are unlevel. There's actually a purpose behind that because companies aren't making garages for your gyms. We're retrofitting them. The reasons they're like that is so water can drain out. So really it's an actual utility that's positive for you so that your garage doesn't flood, or like, let's say you're in a goofball and you park in your garage and there's oil coming off your car or snow and stuff like that, it can drain out. Now, we've moved on beyond Neanderthals and we are now a civilized society where people use their garages for purposes greater than just housing big motorized wheelchairs. So because of that, and you're using your garage as a gym, oftentimes that slope can get in the way. There's two things I'd recommend. Number one is putting your rack in such a way that you're facing either downstream or upstream. So you're not doing it so like one leg is always shorter than the other. Some people can't really do that because it's just like impossible due to the space they have, but that would be my number one recommendation. And then when you're doing movements, like turning that way. That's how I've always done it. The other one is creating a platform that is level and then doing most of your lifting on that. And the way that you can do that is basically taking shims or small pieces of wood and shimming it so it just like the shims get tighter and tighter and tighter as you go to basically fluctuate and even out the flooring that you're using. There's a guy named Greg Everett who owns Catalyst Weightlifting. He's got an awesome article on it. It's been around forever. I'd probably like to do like an updated video on how you can actually build one. I think it could be popular. That said, those are the two ways I would do it. But for most people, just turn your rack so that it's either facing down or facing up. I'm trying to improve my mobility, so right now I face the rack, and so my legs, like, I'm doing the opposite of like an elevated heel lift when I'm squatting, just because I think it's just something extra that I don't have to think about that I think can improve my mobility over the years that I use it. Random, but okay. All right, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Those are some great questions. We should do this more often. Maybe we will do this more often. If you'd like us to answer any of your questions, put them in the link below the like button. Make sure you check out the Black Friday page. If you want to do a longer conversation, you can send me an email, but don't send me too long of an email. You can find our contact form on the website. This is Coop, Garage Gym Reviews. We'll see you next time. Peace.